Good afternoon. Um, just wanted to come on and give another update um, on the Faith Fellowship situation and a little bit about the James River situation. I want to start with the James River situation. My family went to James River a little bit years ago, shortly after they went in a new building there on 65 Highway north of Springfield, Missouri. And it was before they're in the facility they are now. And we went there several times, and we went there after our situation at Faith Fellowship, and heard a lot of good things about the church, and it seemed to be pretty right on. A lot of things were happening there. They had elders. They would have elders come up and pray for the sick and in the service, and I just thought it was great, as many people did. I mean, it's become, I think, from what I've heard, the largest church in Missouri. So that's great. I mean, a lot of good things happened there. A lot of ministry there. I mean, there was a lot of wonderful things happened there for many years. And now we see where it's changed. The bylaws have been changed. The structure's been changed. Things have been kept from the members, and now it's really spinning out of control. And I appreciate Grant Olson by in his work and exposing what happened. It's not an easy thing to do when you're a part of something like that, and you just decide that you can't live with it, and you're called upon to expose it. It's not fun. I don't enjoy this at all. I wish this, in many ways, never would have happened to me and my family and the James River family, and this is a much larger issue. This is happening in so many churches across the country. These pastors are creating these bylaws, slipping things in, and taking control of these churches. And it's really rampant. They don't really have a plurality of elders, of equal elders that serve the body. That's not taught. And I'll go in depth into that later. I'm not going to do a lot of that on this video, but that's what's biblical. Um, and Again, the book Biblical Eldership is an excellent book. It goes in really into scripture, showing, talks about the 31 qualifications of elders and how it should be a plurality of elders. Uh, Paul talks about setting churches in order by appointing multiple elders. And there's lots of scripture on this issue, but again, I'm not going to do a deep dive into that. But my heart goes out to all the people involved in these situations. I know my family was hurt very much. I mean, I've never gotten over it. I've never gotten over it because it's still an ongoing situation. And the church started in my home. It started a small Bible study that I attended right for the inception, pretty much, and it grew. And because many of us really didn't have a good church to go to that we felt like it was something we could support, we started a church, meeting together, an assembly, started assembling together in my home on Sundays. And I had a big main living room that would handle a pretty good crowd of people. So, and that's what we did. And we had some great times there. I was a pretty new believer. I'd never done anything like that. So mistakes were made at the inception, and now we're seeing the fruition of those mistakes. And I led worship there for over 20 years. I was a faithful member. I served. I gave money. You can imagine the shock when this started coming out. When my pastor, Bill Valipiano, when I started bringing up these issues, I wanted to see the bylaws. He offered to give me my money back. He said, "Do you want your money back?" And I was pretty shocked that he would offer me my money back that I had given over all those years trying to keep this a secret. He didn't want me going public. And again, the reason this is coming out now, because this happened, uh, years ago, nearly 25 years ago. And I fought for and got a copy of the bylaws, but I lost them. I couldn't find them for 25 years. I just found them the other day recently. And without the documentation, it's really been, how do you battle this? And I've asked for the bylaws for 25 years. I've posted on Facebook. I've submitted letters to the editor, which the local paper refused to print. I've still got a copy of it. I tried to expose this many, many years ago. I did get a letter to the editor printed in the Summersville paper quite a few years ago, and probably 10 years ago when Pastor Vilipiano was running for commissioner. And so I did get that printed. He did not get elected, and I'm sure he didn't like that, and I'm sure he didn't like the letter, but was able to reach some people, I believe. And he was later was on the Missouri Ethics Commission over the Missouri elections. He was nominated by our commissioners to be on the Missouri Ethics Commission. And I recently had Doyle Heine, who is one of our commissioners. Now that I've exposed in the bylaws, I've put the bylaws on my Facebook page and copies of them, which I've got here, and where they show that it's completely controlled by one man. There is no accountability. He completely owns the controls. I mean, I consider ownership control. If you have a big building and you have total control over it, the board, you're not accountable to anyone. In my mind, that's ownership. So his name may not be on the deed, but he controls the corporation and the bylaws. And in my opinion, he controls it. And I believe that's a violation of the 501c3 nonprofit status, where no one person is supposed to benefit from a nonprofit. If you are the only one in control, you clearly do. I talked to the IRS about this and they said they didn't get involved in this stuff. They didn't look at bylaws. Nobody's seen the bylaws. I couldn't get a copy from the Secretary of State's office. I couldn't get a copy anywhere. They see the some of the documents, but they don't see the bylaws. That is not posted anywhere. I could not get a copy of them. And Mr. Vilipiano refused to give them to me. And I've had a $1,000 reward for many, many years. I've posted it repeatedly, a $1,000 reward for a current copy of the bylaws. And I never heard from anybody that anybody ever had the guts or cared enough to ask what is going on. And this is what is so common in so many of these issues, because people are so affected by this. And that's why these cults and everything do so well, because you get family involved, people that involved, I mean, their livelihoods, their jobs are involved. Maybe, the people they work with go to these churches, and their family goes to these churches, and it's so hard. You're ostracized, you lose your friends, you're spoken evil of, the full gamut. And I've gone through that for years and years and years. I was completely separated from the church family. I talked to one of the conversations I had with Vilipiano was, I said, we need to get the men of the church together and discuss this. This is a huge issue. And he told me that will never happen. You need to find some other place where you can be happy. That will never happen here. You are causing division. You need to leave. I will not allow you to talk to anybody. There was a couple other couples that we met with, and we were praying about the situation. And Vilipiano called up and told them, do not ever meet with Bob Parker again. And they obeyed. they were they were obedient. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we will obey. So they left me high and dry all by myself. And I've basically been by myself on this issue for 25 years. Um, Really, very little traction on this issue, especially with people in that assembly at Faith Fellowship. No, nobody's ever commented, "Hey, what's wrong? how can we, is there any way we can fix this?" I've never had anybody reach out ever uh, to fix this. I had a pastor in another state reach out. He said, "Well, hey, we can get these bylaws. They're with the Secretary of State's office." No, they're not. No, he's like, "Well, dang, our church, our denomination, we register all that with the state. We thought everybody recorded those bylaws." Well, a lot of people may record those bylaws, but they don't at Faith Fellowship, to my knowledge, to the best of my knowledge. Now, and I, I've got the bylaws here, and I'll post them. But the executive president, has general oversight of operations of said corporation. He shall supervise all activities. The assistant president of the corporation, I'm not even sure who that is, shall assist the executive president. So he really is just an underling of the executive president, which is Bill Vilipiano. As far as I know, meetings are called by the executive president. The board members will be delegated responsibilities and oversight of such ministries and duties as the executive president finds necessary. So the board members are all under the executive president. It's clearly laid out. It's one man in total control. And to amend any of these bylaws, it has to be at a meeting called by the executive president, and the executive president has to be unanimous vote, and he has to approve them. So he has complete control. And when I found that out, that he had complete control, I realized that, I could get nowhere in talking and trying to reason with people, reason with him. And so I had to leave. And it's been super, super tough. And I'm just not going to go somewhere that does not have plurality of elders, equality of elders. So it's not this one man rule, which is so harmful. There's got to be accountability. I don't mind accountability, but I found that I was being forced to be accountable and controlled by one man. There was nobody to go to. I wanted to go to other men leading in the church that were somewhat leaders. They would take an offering or whatever. Maybe they were on the board, but they had no authority. And when I lost the bylaws and tried to get them back for all these years, I've never gotten anywhere, no response. And that's the best thing that Faith Fellowship could do is, keep it a secret, never respond. But the secret's out, and I've asked, has the bylaws been updated? Is there another set of bylaws? Has these things been addressed? Crickets. I haven't heard a thing. Crickets. And this has been several days. I've been talking about this, and this is pretty typical. They just go silent. Grant Olson's got it. James River Church. They go silent. They won't ever answer. All they do is, oh, the guy's crazy. The guy's, possessed. He's on a mission. I'm not trying to destroy Faith Fellowship Church or any other church. I'm trying to heal it. I'm trying to get it right. I'm trying to get it accountable. I would love to see them change the structure and get accountability and do something biblical. that would be wonderful. But when one man takes it over for his own personal gain and really creates a dictatorship, that's not Christian, and that needs to be called out. Again, I know how painful it is for members to find this out about their fellowship. There's a book that I read quite a few years ago. There's a couple of books. One of them is The Subtle Power of Spiritual Abuse, and another one is Toxic Faith. They're both really good books on the issue. They helped me quite a bit. And I'm going to be talking about, this is a really big issue. And the reason I talk about my personal walk and my personal experiences through this is to help people understand. So when you bump into this kind of treatment by these people that are controlling and manipulating and in these toxic faith systems, so you can say, well, hey, that's what Bob was talking about. And I can tell you to expect that. Most of these people are not going to get right. They're not going to repent. They're not going to set things in order. I've never got an apology from anybody. And it's, I've got a letter I sent to Faith Fellowship and Leon Slape, who he's on the local school board in Houston, Missouri. And he goes out to Faith Fellowship, been there for years, preaches, leads, wonderful piano player. And he sent me back an email when I requested the bylaws, and he said, no, you shouldn't have, you can't have the bylaws. So, I mean, these are the kind of people that are surrounding Vilipiano that are enabling him to continue to keep on this charade. And, I'll ask Leon Slape right here. Leon, do you still believe it's okay to hide all this from the members of Faith Fellowship and hide it from me? Why would you do that? Why would all the board members continue to hide these bylaws from their members? I mean, is it because you don't want to be exposed for what you've been a part of and enabled for all these years? What is, I ask myself, what's God's timing in this? Why did I lose these bylaws and could never find them so I could, come and explain what happened to everyone? I just didn't have the documentation that I felt like I just had to have. I didn't know how to get it. And here I just recently found them. So, and then we have the James River thing kind of dovetailing, sadly. I think God is tired of this kind of manipulation and these kind of situations where people, lie and cheat and cover up for their own personal gain and control and status. It's just really sad. And it's a lonely place. I'm sure, Grant and others who have come out and exposed some of this, how painful and lonely it is. It's affected my family. It's affected my marriage. People don't like to do this. I mean, it's not an enjoyable thing, but because it's still ongoing, it's never been set right. This is still going on. I was a part of that for years. I invited people there. I served there for over 20 years. It started in my home. It was stolen from the people that started it. It was stolen, just like James River is being stolen. And can't people understand that? I mean, can't they understand that, well, Bob, I had somebody post, well, that was 25 years ago. What are you doing talking about it now? It's ongoing. It's ongoing. I have been trying to warn people for years, but now I have the documentation to back up what I'm saying. And if you want to continue to be a part of a toxic situation like that and let one person be in control in spite of how he's hurt people and families. I know others that have been hurt, but when they leave, they just quietly leave. This revolving door of pain and suffering and hurt when people find out what it is. But he's kept it well hidden. It's just wrong. Just like the James River situation is wrong. It's just wrong. And, you know, things need to be done right. And people need to speak up. And we, you know, all it takes for evil to prevail is for good men or women to say nothing and do nothing. And that's what's happened in this situation. People are going along to get along, and I won't have any part of it. Someday I have to stand before the Lord. And when I stand before the Lord, I want to say, Lord, I have done everything I can to be truthful and honest and represent you in an honorable way in my dealings, in my speech, and everything. And I have done everything, whether it's evil on a governmental level, if it's evil in a church that I started that took over, wherever it is, I am going to do my best to expose it and try to warn people that this is a toxic thing happening and it's bad for them and it can hurt them very deeply. There's from the book Toxic Faith, there's this is out of that book. It says, in a toxic faith system, be it family, church, or ministry, the person with the role of persecutor heads the group, which would be Bill Filipiano in this case, or John Lindell. The persecutor is supported by co-conspirators, enablers, and victim. These people have one primary function: allow the persecutor to function, insulated from reality. Each person in each role believes the organization must continue, and it is each person's job to distort, manipulate, hide, or deny reality so that the toxic system can go on. Each person in a different way protects the persecutor from outside disruptions that could stop the achievement of the persecutor's vision. So they are begin to be surrounded by people that, and that's really where it becomes very cultish. They're surrounded by these enablers and people with religious addictions or whatever, or just a fear of, you know, being alone, like I have been for so many years. But you know, I've grown in my faith. I think another reason is I understand much better now biblical eldership. And years ago, when this happened at Faith Fellowship, I said, I'm just going to take a year. And I did this nearly 25 years ago. I'm going to take a year. I want to understand how the church should be structured, how when we meet as believers in an assembly, when we assemble together as believers, how does that work? What's the biblical oversight? And it's elders. The elders that are the overseers, the qualifications of elders. I took a deep dive into all those scriptures. And I have a better understanding of it now than I've ever had. And maybe that's part of why some of this is coming out now, because that is the answer. That is the answer. Men that meet the qualifications of elders and setting them in order and in position. And it's a co-equal situation, not just a pastor over the elders or not an elder board, just good guys serving on the board. Truly qualified, 31 qualifications of being an elder. That's what we put in place. So when I have an issue with somebody, or they have an issue with me, they have a group of elders, godly elders that they can go to and say, hey, this needs to be looked at. We need to handle this biblically and not this one. There's nowhere in Scripture that has this one-man show situation. And this is not, again, this is a much larger issue. This is Texas County, where I live. This is southern Missouri. This is the Ozarks. This is a huge issue all across the Ozarks. This is a huge issue all across Missouri. This is a huge issue all across the country. I mean, this one man show. And somebody asked me when I was talking to them about elders, and they said, well, we need to get men together so they can learn about elders. And I said, everybody needs to learn. Women, teenagers, everybody needs to understand how authority should be structured, how the church should be structured, biblical authority, and how important elders that serve and pray and meet with members in the body and live with them. I mean, they're shepherds. And I've been a shepherd. I grew up on a sheep farm. I know about being a shepherd. I've been a dairy farmer. I know about animal husbandry and taking care of the flock or the herd. I know all about that. And you got to know what's going on with them, and you got to minister to them. You got to take care of them. That's what the Bible talks about. And that's why you have a plurality of elders. One man can't do it all. So I'm going to end with that. I'm going to have a lot more to say. And I want to get into later this eldership situation, what the Word has to say, what scriptures say about eldership. It's great. It's a great study. I've got a lot more to say. I'm just beginning. Stay tuned. I hope somebody from Faith Fellowship reaches out to me and we can resolve this, or the members demand it. They demand that this one-man situation that they weren't aware of. I don't think any of them are really aware of it. I don't think they've really seen this in black and white. I don't think they've seen the bylaws. And if you're a member there, I just ask you, is this right? I mean, what happened to me? What happened to my family? What's happened to others? Just leave. We don't need you. It's not about you. It's not about the truth. It's about my power and my authority and my money and my position. Please think about it. Think about this. This is important. This is important, people. Lord, help us. Help us set things straight. Help us set things in order, Lord, is my prayer. Thank you very much. More to come. Please pray.